Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Canada Live, where we do fun stuff like turn on our cameras properly. And it is going to be a great show. We'll have a lot of great guests here. I'm your host, Karthik of Apathy, and they're just going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to be talking with some teams. We're going to be talking with some first senior mentors. It's going to be a great time. I am super pumped for it. As Canadians, it is important to recognize the land of which we are a part. As we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect upon the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we celebrate today. We acknowledge the elders and youth, past, present, and emerging, of all the land on which we work and live. We honor the ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. We acknowledge this land out of respect for the Indigenous nations who have cared for Turtle Island, also called North America. The Indigenous people have been gifted the role of caretakers of this land before the arrival of settlers peoples until today. But most importantly, we remember the history of these lands and people that have been tainted by the poor treatment and a lack of friendship with the First Nations who called Canada home before it was given this name. The history is something that everyone is affected by. We are all treaty people in Canada. We all have a shared history to reflect upon, and each of us is affected by this history in different ways. Our past defines our present, but if we move forward as friends and allies, it does not define our future. All right, folks, like I said at the top of the show, we got a lot of good stuff going on today. We got a bunch of teams, including FRC Team 6135 Arctos, FTC Team 18433 Makeshift Tech. They're going to be talking about their FTC Anybot. We got some of our First Canada senior mentors, and FRC Team 7659 HMNCS Robotics is going to start us off. So throughout the show, if you got any questions for us or any of the teams, chatters, anything going like that, drop them in the Twitch chat. We'll have a good time. We'll answer them on air. And remember, we're here to have fun and celebrate excellence in our community. So let's keep things chill. Let's keep things light. Let's keep things positive. I just want to say shout out to Youth Council member Julia. She was supposed to be here as our co-host today, but I was feeling under the weather. So first of all, Julia, feel better. We can't wait till you're back on the show. But in the meantime, normally we have a Youth Council wellness moment here. And I just wanted to, I'll do my own sort of wellness moment. And I think it's something that I say to myself a lot. It's okay to not be okay. I think there's a lot of pressure in today's world when you see so much of these perfectly curated lives on social media that everything is perfect and good. And sometimes when you're feeling down, it's oh no, I need to I need to snap out of this. I need to snap out of this because everyone else is doing great, and I need to be better for other people. And that's a lot of pressure. And I think it's okay to just every so often say, no, it's okay to not be okay. Not being okay is normal. We all struggle with various things from time to time. The world is draining. Our health can be draining. And so it is okay to not be okay. And I don't know, it's helped me out a lot when I struggle, which is pretty common, that I'm not okay. But, I say it's okay to not be okay. And it's it feels a little bit calming. So that's kind of my piece of wellness advice today. I know it's not as cool as when the Youth Council does it, but I figured I'd throw that one out there. So it's not okay to not be okay. All right, folks, now time for our news updates. And there is a lot of stuff going on. So first off, got a special message here from none other than First Canada FRC Director, Mr. John Hobbins, who wants to let everyone know about the new reduced price for extra FRC district events. So your third or fourth play is now $500 Canadian, as opposed to $1,300 Canadian normally. So that's a big savings right there. Also, remember that every registered team this year in Ontario is getting a $1,000 rebate in January. So you could use that rebate towards your third or fourth plays. And so right now, these low-cost additional plays are available. Lead mentors can go and sign teams up for these. And each single day event gives you another chance to become event winners. So there's lots of spots available. In truth, we would love it if more teams could sign up for these spots. So we could, even though we're having these 18 team events, we do want them to be at 18 teams because that just makes the event flow nicer. So the more, if you can sign up for an extra day, that'd be great. It would really help out some of these events that are a little bit low on attendance right now. And, if you're already going to a Saturday of an event, maybe tack on Sunday. Who knows? up to you. Everyone's got a lot of restrictions and a lot of things to think about, but hey, this new price is out there. Thanks to First Canada for being able to lower this price to make it easier for teams to get another chance to play. Like, come play. That's like 9 qualification matches you're going to get right there extra. So good price. Price is right. These are available right now. And just a reminder, though, if you sign up for extra plays, your first 2 events of the season are the ones that count for your points. So when it comes to district points or whatever, it doesn't matter which order you sign up for the events. Chronologically, when they happen, those are the ones that count for your points. So you can request these in your dashboard right now, and you'll be put on a wait list. However, if you do want to request one of these, send an email to john.hobbins@firstroboticscanada.org at the same time, just so he knows what's going on and he can get you moved in, because Johnny Z knows what's up and he always takes care of his teams. So that's advice out there for our FRC teams who are looking for something to do. Extra plays discounted to $500. One thing that's really big in our community is the community. Every teams just like to share their knowledge, and it's really, really great. And one of the longest running events in Canada is the SWATposium, run by Team 771 SWAT, out of Oakville from St. Mildred's, and they are here today to talk about the upcoming SWATposium on November 27th. So let's welcome Sophia and Senna onto the show. Hello, folks. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great, and I want to, SWATposium is one of my favorite events. I've spoken at it a few times, always have a blast going out to Oakville to check things out. And I hear you're doing a virtual event this year, so tell us all about it.
Yeah, well, firstly, to introduce myself, I'm Sophia.
And I'm Senna, and we're the SWATposium co-leads for this year.
And we're so excited to be here today to share some information about SWATposium.
So first off, SWATposium is SWAT's annual robotics conference that brings first teams from different programs together for a day of guest speakers, workshops, and social activities. It's annually held in the fall, and it helps prepare both veteran and rookie teams for the coming season.
So this year's SWATposium will take place virtually on November 27th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be having various workshops and speakers presenting throughout the day, which will teach participants valuable skills regarding FIRST.
We also have a fun and engaging social activity planned, allowing attendees to take a break and bond with each other. By attending SWATposium, you're going to be having the opportunity to interact with and learn from various FIRST teams, making it a truly memorable event. The sign-up link is going to be posted on our social media and website next week. And please remember that in order to be able to attend the event and receive the links for the workshops, you have to sign up and fill out the form.
So for presenters, we have extended our workshop registration deadline to November 15th. So if anyone is interested in running a workshop, you can sign up using the form linked in the chat. And please note that you don't have to have your presentation completed in order to sign up. Just have a general idea of what your presentation will be about.
Each workshop slot is 40 minutes, but presenters can choose to have 2 blocks for an 80-minute presentation. Also, your workshop does not have to be about FRC. In the past, we have had a variety of workshops about FLL, Junior FLL, and VEX.
So that's it for us. Thank you so much for listening.
Well, thanks, Sophia and Senna, and I'm excited for SWATposium, but I'd love to hear from each of you. Like, what are you most excited about for SWATposium this year?
So
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
You're both so excited. You both want to start.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely most excited about the workshops. So first off, the workshops, you're really able to gain a lot of knowledge and a lot of different skills from the workshops. And there's a variety of different topics to choose from as well, like electrical, programming, team building, so a lot of different things. And you're also really able to meet a lot of new people, which I also like about SWATposium.
Sounds pretty good. Senna, what about you, Sophia?
For me, I really love the social personally because it allows me to kind of interact with other people from other teams and just like bond with all the attendees as well as like other people on my team. So I think everyone should be really excited for our social this year. And even though it's virtual, I think it'll still have a lot of those like interactive elements. So yeah, hopefully everyone has a lot of fun at that.
And for the social, can you give us some more details of how it's going to work? Because virtual social seems it's so different. Like, I know we did one with the STEM-a-thon last year, First Canada did, so I'd love to hear how you're doing your virtual social.
Yeah. So, Sen, are you good if I reveal what our social is?
Oh, sorry, is it top secret? I don't want to break. I don't want to ruin any top secret things.
No, it's fine.
No, don't worry. Yeah.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Well, for our social, since it's virtual, there's not a lot of options that we have, but we decided that a Kahoot would be really fun, as lots of people have enjoyed it in past SWATposiums. And, it's a great way to kind of test your knowledge and just kind of bond with others. And Senna, if you want to add anything, go ahead.
Yeah, and the winners are going to hopefully be receiving prizes. So make sure to brush up on some first knowledge.
Ooh, prizes are a big thing. We do Kahoots on First Canada Live. Everyone gets super into the prizes. So that'll be really good. Hey, we got a question in chat. One of the favorite things of some people for SWATposium is some people really enjoy the cake that's there usually. So like, what are we going to do virtually? We're going to have like a virtual cake maybe, or some candles or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if we could distribute little cake slices to everyone through the screen, that would be really great. But
Right.
I think that's going to take some sort of new innovation.
Yeah, that definitely for sure on that piece there. And so, you mentioned like electrical programming, lots of good workshops that are there. I know in the chat, one of our First Canada senior mentors, Paul Keenan, Swaggy P, mentioned there's going to be an FTC sim presentation. Are there any other presentations you'd like to highlight that people might like to hear about?
There's going to be video game programming. So there's going to be a lot of different workshops. I know there are chairman's 101, scouting 101. There's a lot of team building workshops where you're going to be able to learn about different team building strategies. So there's going to be a lot of variety of different workshops. So, and I think the Youth Council is also preparing a workshop for us. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I heard about the Youth Council doing that, and the video game programming one. Like, it just kind of shows because, like you said, this is more than just FRC. There's lots of different skills you can be learning in there, and I think I'm sure there's well, let's be real. There's a lot of people in our community who play video games. There's a lot of people in our community who like to program. So it just seems like unnatural. So that is fantastic. Senna, Sophia, is there anything else you'd like to add about SWATposium? Any final reminders? Anything that you want the world to know about this great event?
Well, in terms of logistics, I think we covered everything, but if you're just even remotely interested, I would really encourage you to sign up because it's honestly such an amazing event and you really get to learn all this new knowledge without even realizing that you're learning it. And it's just a great way to bond with others. So I would just really recommend that you show up if you're free.
I think that's a great piece of advice there, Sophia, because I think the best things are when you're learning without realizing it. And also I think this year there's a lot of first teams with a lot of new members. I mean, there's been a gap because of the pandemic. And so the best way to get all these skills in and get this knowledge, but also to connect with the community. You both mentioned how the social aspect's a big piece. And, so you want to feel what this first community is about, go to SWATposium, meet lots of people, have fun at the social, tune in from some sessions, learn a little bit about programming, a little bit about chairmans, a little bit about video games, all the good stuff, and it'll be a blast. So Senna, Sophia, thank you so much for being here. And we put the link in chat for where you can sign up for presenters, and then they can go to your social media to find more details.
Yes.
Or our website.
And the website URL, just for everyone?
Yes. Oh, the website URL for SWAT?
Yeah.
It is swat771.com, all lowercase.
Awesome. Nice and easy to remember. Well, thank you so much for being here for the news updates. We can't wait to hear about all the good stuff that happens at SWATposium. And I think lots of people are going to tune in, so it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Oh, of course. All right. Thank you to Team 771 SWATposium. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you get signed up for that. And we are going to be back with our first team segment coming up in just a moment after a word from one of our sponsors, Lakeside Process Controls.
What I value most about Lakeside and Lakeside's culture is the extracurricular activity or involvement that Lakeside has with organizations such as FIRST. Having a partnership with FIRST is really important to me because I part-time teach kids robotics, and I am an advocate for women in STEM and women in engineering and kind of overcoming that, stigma or that appearance of what people in certain fields look like. And so the fact that Lakeside has an alliance with FIRST Robotics shows that it aligns their values with my values, and that's really important to me.
All right, we're back. And now for our team showcase with FRC Team 7659 HNMCS Robotics from Mississauga, Ontario, we have Sally and Sophia. Hello, how are you all doing?
I'm doing good.
That is awesome. So, you were one of the, I believe it was 21 FRC teams this summer that ran summer camps throughout the summer for kids across the province. It was a partnership in conjunction with First Canada, and there was some really cool stuff. And I would love to hear about the camps you offered and the students who took part.
Sure, I can speak on this. So this summer, Team 7659, we ran 4 different camps. It was Scratch coding, Java 101 coding, FRC robot coding, and Lego Spike robot coding. And like some members of our team got to actually run those camps, and we had many students join us. Each camp were a week long, and a lot of students were beginners, but many students left our camp with improved skills.
Fabulous. And Sally, I believe you have some slides for us. Should we take a look at those now?
Sure.
All right, let's take a look at those slides and we can go through this because it sounds really like there's a lot going on there between Scratch and all the different groups of students. So let's take us through the power of outreach.
So thank you, Karthik, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Sally.
And my name is Sophia, and we are members of FRC Team 7659.
And tonight we'll be delivering a brief presentation on behalf of our team about the power of outreach.
First Robotics promotes science and technology, and Team 7659 embodies their vision by recognizing the importance of increasing awareness of STEM among today's youth, especially for females. Team 7659 is multifaceted with various components, allowing us to connect students with a wide range of interests.
To empower Girls Plus and other minorities in STEAM, we've launched multiple initiatives this year. So for instance, HNMCS Robotics hosts STEM Day annually, which is an event full of fun STEM activities for our school. Students of each grade get to work cooperatively as a team to solve various experiments and games involving problem-solving skills. This has been a long tradition in our school community, and this year's STEM Day will be our 5th year. We also host free weekly coding sessions within our team for anyone of any skill level. I personally was able to participate last year, and through the experience, I gained much more knowledge and interest in the coding aspect of competitions. Many rookie members like to join these sessions as it helps them transition into coding the robot to help prep it for a competition. Reaching out to younger students in STEM is also crucial, so we've been running a coding club for grades 5 to 8 for many years in our school. We taught students how to use Scratch and code Spike Lego robots all virtually. We received a lot of positive feedback from the students. So again, in the summer, we continued the coding sessions for younger students by organizing summer camps this year in collaboration with First Canada.
Our outreach is not only limited to those in our school community. We've also reached out to students of other FRC teams at schools. And with the pandemic and the general transition of all in-person activities to virtual, we took advantage of the opportunity to reach a wider audience. Last month, our team, in partnership with Team 1360, hosted our annual virtual event called Engineering Career Night to provide opportunities for youth to interact with professionals in the engineering field. We had over 85 participants join the call and listen to 5 different speakers in fields such as chemical, algorithm, environmental, civil, and manufacturing engineering. Similarly, we've hosted business brunch with Team 1360 for the past 4 years. Business brunch also allows young students to meet with graduates and professionals, but in the business and commerce field. Through the inclusion of multiple fields, we promote the idea that to be a part of FIRST, there are simply no limits. We also have weekly programs called Drop-in Coding, where students, like the name suggests, can simply drop in a meeting and learn to code for free. Coding sessions include learning Scratch and Java.
And all these initiatives really allow our team to sustain an inclusive and diverse environment that fosters the creativity and development of our team members, leads, and mentors.
And now we'll share a short video highlighting the virtual summer camps that Team 7659 ran this summer.
All right, I'm excited to see this video because I know there's some cool stuff in here. And while we wait for that video, here we go.
My My favorite part of this camp was meeting new people and learning how to code.
It was really fun and easy to follow.
My favorite part was probably when we got to drag all the blocks together and you got to see it how it works at the end, the final product of it.
What I liked about the class is that we were able to create most of our own codes.
My favorite part of the camp was using the robot, coding it. At the beginning, I didn't know how to code robots, and now I know how to make the lights go and stuff, which I didn't know how to do before, so I definitely improved.
I thought it was really cool because I know I learned some Java during the year, but it was really cool to kind of expand my experience on that and actually be able to see the robot move with the code that you make. I think it's really cool to see that final product.
I like learning a general understanding on the code that goes into the robots that makes it function and do tasks.
Well, that was pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So before I start asking, I have a lot of questions to ask. But before we get into that, I think there's a couple more slides to take a look at.
Yeah, so this year's Business Brunch is coming up soon, and our first sessions for drop-in coding just began a few days ago. But registrations are still open for both events, so if you're interested in participating, please email us at frc7659@hnmcs.ca or look out for a registration link in our Instagram at frcteam7659.
And for our students at our school, our upcoming events are STEM Day and Middle School STEAM Night, and all of our activities will be posted on our Instagram. And we'd like to thank all of our sponsors for helping us support the people in our community, as well as First Canada for providing us with the opportunity to share this with the entire First Canada community. Thank you.
Well, I mean, thank you for all that you do. It's really kind of cool to follow your team on social media because there's always stuff happening. It's just wow, this is so cool. And I guess my very first question is, how do you all manage to do so much? Because some teams would pick one type of, you taught students Scratch, you taught students Java. They were working with these virtual avatars, and they were learning robot programming, other types of programming. So how did you manage to do all that?
Well, through our meetings, we meet twice a week and we have different breakout rooms. So the students are able to choose kind of what they want to work on. So we have event planning where we get most of the planning done for our initiatives like STEM Day, Middle School STEAM Night, Business Brunch. And then we also have a coding room where they can learn to code on Scratch and Java. And then we also have a media room to work on Instagram and posting and posters and all of that. So we have a lot of different breakout rooms and students are able to choose kind of what they want to work on.
That's always good when you can focus on an area that's kind of specific right there, but it's inspiring to see how much you're doing. That's really, really nice. Another question is, a lot of the effort of these summer camps this summer, when else will the summer camps happen, right? But with these camps was, an emphasis on reaching underserved students. And so why was that so important to your team?
Well, one of our team and also first core values is inclusion, and underserved groups are not given the same opportunities as people at my school, for example. So we really want to give opportunities and leave doors open for everyone. As well, we want to provide info about STEM through our initiatives like Business Brunch and Engineering Career Night. And through this, we can also encourage students to pursue and apply themselves in school. And we can help change their lives and the paths of the students. And through many of our initiatives, actually, we've also inspired youth to change and explore career paths that they didn't know about before.
That's fantastic. It's the inclusion piece. We talk about it a lot at first about the importance of equity, diversity, and inclusion, but it's really great to see the teams are taking it and incorporate it into their own core values. And I mean, it's just so when you think about it, there's nothing worse than kind of feeling like you're on the outside of something, like, or like, there's a party and you're not invited, or there's a group of people sitting together at a table and it's like, oh, I can't go over there and whatever. And I think it's really important that us, in the community as teams, think about like people who might be like, oh, I'd maybe like to do robotics, but I don't think it's for me. And you're reaching out to them, which is fabulous. Also with the camps that happened this summer, like what was your favorite part?
Personally, as one of the leaders who led the camps, my favorite part was probably watching the students grow their passion for coding. I could really see their excitement when they log into meetings and they want to try new codes. And just in general, getting to teach the students and also learning from them as well, and just giving them the opportunity to try and develop their coding skills. That was really inspiring for myself.
Sally, you say that, and it really makes me think, because one of the things that everyone was concerned about this summer was kind of like, Zoom burnout. Folks have been in virtual lessons so much, but it's really cool to hear that the kids were signing up and logging into your Zoom classes or whatever platform you were using, and they were still excited. They were ready to learn in the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you go about making it so fun and engaging for them?
I definitely think it's the interactive component in it. It's not more like a class. I wouldn't say it's like a class system. It's more like a discussion. We actually all contribute into ideas. One of the subgroups I joined within the camp, we all instead of working on separate codes, we decided to just all make it into one giant code together and kind of work from that instead of working individually. And I think that's what makes the students more engaged and more excited about what to do instead of just having to work on their own, separated from other people.
Yeah. So you think a combination of interactivity and teamwork.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's a nice recipe right there. And so, you talked a little bit about the business brunch and the drop-in sessions. What else has your team been up to this? I mean, that's a lot. I want to say what else have you done? But is there anything else that you've done this fall that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, so we've been helping the rookie members transition into the build and competition season. So we do this through training them and build and as well as coding, and also registering students on first. And I think it's just really great to be back together in one room and not virtual, and really providing our members with the hands-on experience that they haven't gotten for the past 2 years.
That's a big gap when you think about it. It's 2 years. Wow, that's really been a thing. So, it's the fall, and like you said, you're meeting in person. How excited are you for this year's FRC season?
Well, I'm personally very excited. I've never been to a competition because I've been on the team for 3 years. So in the past 2 years, we haven't had a competition. So this will actually be my first. And I think a lot of other members are excited too, because we've never experienced it before. And we've been kind of had this built up for the past 2 years of all this excitement of going to competition. So yeah, I think everyone's super excited and super ready for the competition season.
Hey, Sally, have you been to a competition before?
I've been to an off-season competition,
Okay,
but not the one during the season. So I'm also super excited, like Sophia.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, they're the best. And Sally, you've been to an off season, so you know the energy level of what's going on. And it's Sophia and everyone watching, I know there's a lot of people in our community who haven't been to these events, but trust me, there is so much fun. It's just it's like robots, which is great. When you work on a robot, it's fun. You're working with your team or whatever. And then competition is fun. When you watch sports, we watched the Canada win the gold medal in Olympic soccer. That was super fun or whatever. But you're combining robots and competition, and the same sort of energy, with the cheering crowd that you get at a Jays game or a soccer game or whatever, you get for robots, and it's all together. And then you meet all these people from all these teams, and everyone is super, super friendly. So you can tell I'm pumped too. I kind of miss it. So, Sally, Sophia, thank you so much for being here. Anything else you'd like to plug for your team? Anything else you'd like to say to us?
We just want to quickly talk about our experience with FIRST. So we really continue to be members of the team, especially during COVID, because of the uplifting atmosphere in our team and the FIRST community that supports the idea of encouraging one another and pushing through our limits and expanding our skill sets. And we also really want to positively influence our team so that everyone will get to have the same experience and the opportunities that we had. And in the future, we definitely see our team reaching out to a wider audience through social media platforms and events.
Well, that is fantastic. And again, you want to give your social media out again, just so everyone who might have missed it can go follow, subscribe, and all those good things?
Sure. So our Instagram is at FRC Team 7659.
All right. go give them a follow. You'll see cool stuff happening every day. It always just pops up on the feed. It's really, really great to see. Sally, Sophia, thank you so much. And thank you for everything your team has done, especially those camps this summer for the underserved students. I think it's really, really great to spread first and get more people excited. And then I cannot wait to see what your team comes up with this season. And hopefully we'll see you at a competition. So thanks, Sally, Sophia. Thanks, FRC 7659. And we will be back with another team in just a couple seconds. All right, garage door opens and we're back. And now we're going to shift from the world of FRC to the world of FTC. That's the First Tech Challenge. And we got First Tech Challenge team 18433. You might also know them by their FRC team number 4039. That is Makeshift Tech from Hamilton, Ontario. We got their mentor, Matt Glanfield. You might recognize him as an Ontario head referee and volunteer all around. And we have students Francesco H. and Adam C. How's it going, Makeshift?
Hey, great, Karthik. Thanks for the introductions.
Well, hey, thanks for being here. And I am super excited about this. So for everyone who's watching, you might have seen on the show last year or at events, you might be familiar with FRC Team 118, the Robodots, and their sponsor, NASA. And so what they've done is they developed in FRC a yearly Everybot. And so the idea is they, once the game comes out, they spend a week coming up with a simple yet effective design that they put together that can be built with the kit of parts and just like a few $100s extra of parts. And they put it out there for the whole community. So any team can use this to get a simple, effective robot that can fulfill many of the tasks of the game and be an active contributor to alliances. So this has been an FRC thing. And I've been hearing that FTC 18433 Makeshift Tech has come up with their own version of the Everybot, the Anybot, for the First Tech Challenge.
Yep, absolutely. So we that's definitely where we got our inspiration. We wanted to avoid the Everybot team, let 118 do their thing, which they're really, really good at it. But we noticed nobody was doing it for FTC, right? And we had started an FTC team last year as part of Makeshift Tech. It was the first time we'd done FTC. In 2019 when we signed up, we were like, oh, it's going to be great. We can have our first year students learn on it. It's going to be so easy. They're tiny robots. And then COVID happened and we struggled to get anything on the field. So this year, with things going back to in-person events, we decided to go with our Project Robot Reboot, which is trying to help teams get back on their feet, get what they can do. And one of the things we saw was that there was a gap in FTC with no Everybot, Anybot kind of option. Yeah.
All right, and our main goals were to create an affordable, robust, and simple robot. We made sure that it can be built with nothing more than hand tools and uses items found either in the kit of parts or easily purchased from a local hardware store or FTC vendors.
I have to say, I love the quote on the slide. There is no dignity quite so, I lost it, but that's okay. There is no dignity quite so impressive and no one independence quite so important as living within your means. And I think that really applies to robot design in general, where, we always kind of say, build within your means and focus on a few things and do really well with them, as opposed to trying to do everything and kind of making it mediocre. And so that's a great design philosophy right there.
And then it kind of starts with the process. First, you kind of decide what the robot's going to do. And we focused on mainly solo matches, but you still want it to be cool for in-person events. And then most importantly, you want to keep the robot simple and just performing consistently and well. And so the concepts, lots of brainstorming and prototyping, and then eventually designing it all in CAD. And then the robot's coded with Onbot Java and has a simple autonomous, so it leaves lots of room for improvement. And then the robot is always being improved, so constant iterations from us and then from other teams using the robot and providing feedback. And then the last step, obviously, is documenting it all. So recording all the important steps and info. So when other teams assemble the robot and use it on competitions, they can get the same results we did.
Next, we'll be giving a quick rundown of all the components of the robot. We have a pivoting arm, a spinner, a gripper, and of course the drivers. Next slide.
Starting with the drive base, just 2 DC motors driving it, the 2 rear traction wheels, and you can see it has the 2 Omni wheels at the front, and all of those are modified a little bit for some better ground clearance. And you can see in the right photo, the motors are pretty tight in the back of the robot there, so it's got a narrow wheelbase, all just kind of a smaller robot.
For the pivoting arm, we used 1 DC motor, a chain-driven pivot, and an encoder to program 4 preset positions. Next slide.
Moving on to the gripper, you can see it has the 2 spiked red entrapment wheels there, both driven by the 1 servo motor. So that combined with a 3D printed scoop, you can hold the game pieces, and by just reversing the servo, you can intake or you can place the game pieces.
For the spinner, we chose a wheel with a 4-inch diameter, and it was driven by 1 DC motor. Next slide.
Yeah, so we have a video of our simple autonomous, just very simple, drives backwards for, a fraction of a second, spins the wheel to knock the duck off, and drives forward. There's no turn there, just drives forward into the wall, just like FLL, and drives straight into the warehouse where you get the bonus points. So
That is so simple. I love it.
That's the simplest thing we could come up with, and we're sure that many other teams will do much better than that.
Hey, Matt,
we can go to the next slide.
How many points would that auto be worth?
I believe that auto is 20 points for getting the duck off of the wheel and then parking. Yeah.
And with based on your kind of scoring projections of the game, 20 points is pretty significant, right?
Yeah, so we'll get into that in another slide, but I think it's a fifth of the points that we score in 5 seconds or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We can play this video now. This is in Telehop. And I should say this was a driver who had very little practice, maybe less than an hour. It might have been me, but I'm sure other teams could do much better.
Adam Francesco, you got to choose better drivers for these videos.
That's right. It was maybe one of the worst choices we made in relation to Anybot. But, one of the things that we prioritized, and you kind of mentioned earlier, Karthik, is, really documenting this well, making sure teams could learn from the lessons that we have, which is why we have all these videos and pictures and whatnot available, right? We want to make sure teams could see what we were able to do with the Anybot. You might be able to spot a few issues that we have while we're driving it and come up with a better solution than what we did.
Hey, Matt or Adam or Francesco, I think one of the cool things, I guess, is you're mentioning about how this is only with an hour of driving. And this is pretty effective, one at a time, real good cycling. But the cool thing with Everybot, right, is that because you can get it built so quickly, because you have resources to help teams get this together, you can spend so much more time on driver practice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we built this in a weekend, and, if you have an FTC team, build it in one weekend, spend the next 3 months driving, right? It might help you more than spending 3 months building a robot. We've definitely found that in the past.
In all levels of FIRST, I think I've seen that, where a team, you get something done early, and then, because you might think it's just practicing driving, but you will also notice things that go wrong. And in that time, then it's I'm going to improve this. This has to be tightened always. Oh, this should be on our pit checklist to make sure that we're looking at this. And so practice isn't just about improving skill. Practice improves the overall health of the robot, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, we definitely found a few of those, and those are outlined on the site as well. A few tips. We can go to the next slide too. So that's our end game, and it's very simple. You get there early. Definitely get there early. Be parked right there, right before end game starts, and just spin the wheel. Have a human player who knows when to put the duck on when the wheel stops spinning, and just sit there for the whole end game and spin the wheel.
So many ducks. Quack.
It sounds stupid. It doesn't
Quack.
look very exciting, but each one of those is 8 points, I think.
Quack.
So, in my head, I just see the counter with
Quack.
the points going up. You know, and the counter probably makes the noise Karthik is
Quack.
making right now.
Yeah, well, that's what I recommend all game announcers do this season. Is every time a duck is scored, is you have to quack. That's kind of the rule.
That's right. Yeah, I like that.
And as Karthik was talking about before, about our scoring potential, it's a total of 20 points in auto, 40 points in teleop, and 48 points in the endgame, for a total of 108 points. With this design, the endgame is by far the best scoring potential.
And just a few parts that aren't included in the kit. Most importantly, the cable pack that lets you use the motors with the hub. And there's some parts for the gripper and duck spinners. And then for the 3D printed scoop, Makeshift can 3D print that for the teams if they don't have a solution or a printer to make it themselves.
Wow, $87. That's a good deal.
All the equipment listed here which are required to build the Anybot are all easily accessible. Some shown are even supplied with the Anybot kit, so it should be really easy for all the teams to get the materials needed.
And then resources, all the info, everything's on the Google Drive. That link, so the CAD you can find on Onshape. The code is through GitHub. Both of those links are in the Google Drive document. And then there's also extra things, tips and strategy sheets, plenty of pictures and videos, all that teams can use when they're building and competing with the robot.
Yeah, and I realized today that we should have put some images of the Onshape CAD, because the robot's fully CADed, publicly available. You can do in browser, you don't have to download any program, and look at the robot in 3D before you even decide to build it or not. But part of our future plans is we got many of these kits from First Canada. They had a promotion last year where you could get them really cheap, and we hope lots of teams did. We grabbed a few ourselves. So we had the students on our team this year build the Anybot after the robots designed it that one weekend. So the students have been building it. I think Adam and Fran have worked on it. And from their experience, we're updating our documentation with what we've learned, right? So the mentors wrote how to build it. The students are trying to follow our instructions, and then we're going to try to make the instructions a little bit more helpful, right?
Right. Writing instructions is an iterative process, right, Matt? Like
that's right. Just like building the robot, just like driving the robot, everything in First is iterative, right?
Yeah, it's life there for you.
Yeah. We can
question.
Yeah,
sorry. No. Go on, Matt.
We have one more slide. I'm really excited about it, Karthik. No, it's totally fine. It's our next part of Robot Reboot. We have FTC Saturdays, and we want to invite teams that need help with anything FTC. So not just Anybot. If you have questions about Anybot, feel free to sign up. But if you have any questions about FTC at all, there's a link there. It'll be in the Twitch chat, and we'll help you one-on-one on Zoom for 2 hours a Saturday. This is the third one that we've done. We've done two the past 2 weekends. Maybe there'll be more. I don't know. Events are coming up pretty soon though. But we want to make sure teams have someone they can ask about any issues, technical, competition, strategy, whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Makeshift. That is amazing. Like I was already wowed by the entire Anybot, but then this piece right here. And there's so many questions I could possibly ask. Quickly, on the drivetrain, I couldn't tell from the images, are the front and back wheels linked? Or are the Omnis just like idling?
I can answer. The Omni wheels are separate, so those you could see in the videos. Those can spin around. It's a little more maneuverable than if they were just driven.
Very, very cool. A question from chat, Matt. I know you said you kind of did it in one day, but like, how much time did it take to create the Anybot from like design to?
Oh yeah. So it took us, we didn't time it, but maybe about 12 hours. We came in on a Saturday, built almost the whole robot, and then came in for a couple hours on Sunday and you know, finished off the programming and drove it, took videos and everything.
This is absolutely amazing. And do you know if any teams have you spoken to any teams who are like, yeah, we're definitely using this?
I haven't heard anything, but
okay.
I do suspect that Makeshift Tech might show up with something that looks fairly similar to it.
Well,
I think we have a few upgrades planned, but
I do know with the Everybot, like talking to the 118 folks, sometimes they just be blown away, like, oh, there's like a random team in Utah who's using it. It's just like it kind of spread by wildfire. And when 1114 did the Kitbot on steroids, like one year we were at championship, we're like, where did all these things come from? Like we didn't realize how many people were using it. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen here with the Anybot.
Yeah, and there were last year teams just built the Everybot, did nothing special to it, and would go to events, pair up with another Everybot, and be in finals.
Oh yeah.
It was nuts, right?
First Canada has big plans with the Everybot this year. I think Everybot's, more information will be coming out there, but First Canada is going to be working with the Everybot folks to kind of get that more accessible up here. So that's going to be really exciting too. Anybot, Everybot. Hey, Makeshift, thank you for making robotics more accessible for all our teams and just being such a great team for teams to be able to reach out to, look up to in the community. You are doing fantastic work. Adam Francesco, great explanation of the robot. Matt, great guidance leadership on this project. This is really, really cool. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Wait.
Yes.
Our school, St. Mary's, is hosting our FRC district event in person, which is cool.
Yes, that is very, very cool. And teams should sign up for that event because I know it'll be a lot of fun. I've been to the off-season event you've had there, Stemley Cup, and this is kind of like the natural extension of the Stemley Cup. So it'll be a great time. That is week 6 of the FRC season.
Yeah.
And so
we're very excited to host our first official FRC event. So
yeah, that's going to be a blast. Thank you so much, Makeshift. Y'all rule. You know what? We've completely run out of time. I wanted to do some this or that questions with y'all, but we're going to save that for another time. But thanks again, Makeshift, and we will be back with our next team in just a couple seconds, folks. All right, we're back. And so we went into FTC land. We're going to go back to the first robotics competition with none other than team 6135 Arctos from Toronto, Ontario, right downtown, folks. We got Srila, Diksha, and Vagish who are on the show, and they're going to be telling us about everything they did this summer with their summer camps. How's it going, Arctos?
We're doing well. How are you doing, Karthik?
I am doing great. I'm pretty pumped. Like, it's so much fun having teams on the show, just to kind of see the energy and then hearing about SWATposium and then everything that 7659 is doing. And then I don't know how much y'all are into FTC, but like I'm learning more every day. So I'm super, I loved, it's just fun to see a robot on the show. It's First Canada Live. It's good. It's for robots. And now we got Arctos on here. And it's been a while since I've seen your fantastic team. But I heard you had a summer, the opportunity, just like we talked with 7659, you partnered with First Canada to run some summer camps this summer for underserved students in your community and broader because it was virtual. So I'm really excited to learn a little bit about everything that you did. So maybe if we want to start off, do you want to give us like a high level overview of what your camps were like?
Sure. I'll try to keep it high level. We'll see how it goes. So we actually ran 10 sessions this summer, so 10 weeks of a summer camp, and we were so lucky to be able to serve around 120 students all over the GTA. And a quick overview of our camp, we provided students the opportunity to do block coding. We taught them about block coding with the lovely FTC sim program. We also used Tinkercad to teach them about circuitry, and we also helped introduce them to FIRST. So we kind of talked about what we did on our FRC team, all our sub teams, stuff like that. And to avoid Zoom burnout, as he mentioned earlier in this stream, we had daily icebreakers, fun activities, and every week we had a theme day at the end of the week. And one of our theme days was a tropical day. So we got everyone to have tropical backgrounds and wear sunglasses and all that. And it was a really wonderful opportunity.
That sounds like a lot of fun. This is really cool. And so your camps, you said 120 participants. That is fantastic that you've managed to impact that many people this summer. And you said all across the GTA. So how did you find your participants? How did you recruit?
Yeah, so we actually did a little bit of research before we did this because we wanted to make sure we were, impacting the underserved population. So we approached this by using a few statistics that the City of Toronto had developed, and we actually used neighborhood improvement areas from the Toronto Strong Neighborhood Strategy 2020 project. And we looked at the areas that the City of Toronto deemed as neighborhood improvement areas, and we decided to focus on those areas because those areas seem to coincide with having a majority of families living under the low income cutoff line in Toronto. So we focused on those communities, and we went into those communities, hung up flyers, contacted schools in those areas, youth organizations, libraries, cultural centers. We went through social media, and we sent out a huge email through the TDSB virtual school system. So we did, I think one of the areas we really strongly focused on was ensuring we reached that underserved population.
That is amazing that you went, like, you know, because when you talk about a first team, like some people are just like, oh yeah, first teams build robots. And then some people see the bigger picture, but this is like truly, like, I like the term like interdisciplinary project. It was like the school I went to when I was in elementary school, they were really big on interdisciplinary studies. And what your team has like, this was like a true interdisciplinary study because you're learning about sociology and urban planning and socio impacts and, you know, bringing in the cultural impacts of things and social justice. So that's a cool combination that you're using like your robot skills in these camps, but then these other skills, which will be so valuable. And like, this is how you have, like, you all are the future, these well-rounded people who understand technology, but understand the social side of it. So that is fantastic. So you found the participants and you did some really cool research, and I've seen the reports you've sent in. And so like I'm geeking out here, maybe geeking out more than the audience might be right now because I've seen more of the stuff behind the scenes, but it was so detailed, the amount of data work you did. And like, I'm a data junkie. So it was just like, I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. So one piece is getting the students, bringing them to the space. You know, it's like, how do we bring the students to space? But then how did you ensure that you made an impact on these students?
So we really tried again to focus on underserved, and the term underserved, we actually approached it from a variety of angles. So we know that even if you might not live in a neighborhood or an area that's deemed underserved, you might still not get access to the same opportunities that a lot of other students in your area do get access to, and that may be due to a variety of different factors. Most of it is just income-wise, family income based, but a lot of it could be due to your parents' levels of education, your ethnicity, and all that. So we sort of took, I'd like to call it a very broad approach to the term underserved, and we collected a lot more information. It was all optional, of course, and we made it very clear that it was optional, and it was just to help us find out how we could actually impact underserved groups like to the best of our abilities. So we really took into consideration income, household size, ethnicity, things like your parents' highest levels of education to really ensure that just because they didn't live in a neighborhood that was deemed underserved or that needed more support, just because they didn't live in one of those areas didn't mean that they weren't eligible for our camp.
Right. And there's a lot of different factors that go into being underserved. And, you know, like some people might take a look at it and be like, oh yeah, well, we're just going to do like an income level because that's the driving factor. But we know that in our society, there's so many other factors, systemic racism, what the Indigenous peoples of Canada have gone through, what Black populations have gone through, the impacts of being new immigrants to the country, trying to adjust, not knowing where the opportunities are, even that you might have had access to in your home country and the such. So it's really cool that you took this broader look at it, which is absolutely the right way to do it, because there's different meanings of what could be underserved. And especially like, this show, this First Canada Live is going out to all of Canada, but within the Toronto area, like if you drill down on a neighborhood, some neighborhoods in Toronto, there's this like massive spread, where you can be like at one intersection and there's like looking around, the houses are like $1 million, $2 million. And then you drive 2 stoplights, no more than that. And then there's apartment buildings where like you'll have a family of 6 people living in there where the rent is, like 6 people in like 400 square feet. So it's like, but it's in the same neighborhood. And so there's different levels of access and stuff. So really cool that you thought your way through that. So we've talked a lot about underserved, but I think it's really important. We can continue talking about it. Why was it so important to you to reach these groups?
Um, uh, these people, underserved communities and underserved people, they don't really have the opportunities, specifically STEM opportunities. It's either not accessible or a variety of different reasons. And that's actually gives a lot of privilege to us, especially like even in our team, we have this opportunity to be part of an FRC team. And we just wanted to give an impact on our community, because helping these communities get exposed to stuff like STEM and FIRST is really good for them overall. And it's really good for us too, because we get to see them smile, see them come to these meetings and just enjoy themselves. And it's just fun for everyone overall.
Yeah, it is the best part to see the smiles and everything like that. I actually, like, my favorite part of the show is just how you just started smiling at the thought of them smiling, Bhagesh. I think that's really cool, and seeing the impact of all of this. And I think you touched on opportunities, and there's, well, first of all your camps were free, and the camps that 7659 did was free. This is just like free science camps, and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of cool programs out there that aren't free, and so making this free to people this summer really, really helped, especially during the pandemic where there's so much learning. School was frustrating for kids. I mean, you are all students right now who went through a year like 75% virtual learning, and I'm sure you were kind of done with school probably by June. And I think the goal of a lot of the teams, and why First Canada partnered with all of you, is we wanted to get kids to at least come in for like a week-long camp somewhere. And they might not learn everything. They're not going to become an engineer from that camp, but at least be like, hey, yeah, this is kind of fun. I like school. I forgot I liked school, and that sort of feeling that sometimes I remember when I was a student, I would get that feeling when I go to a robotics meeting, be like, oh yeah, this is why I come here, it's good. What's been your favorite part of the camps that you ran?
Well, as for myself, my favorite part of the camp would have definitely had to been the showcase last presentation day, which we had on our last day of the 5-day camp throughout the week. So all the campers, they presented and shared what they were working on throughout the week-long camp. So whether that had been for instance, the FTC block-based sim coding, or something which they had built on Tinkercad. For instance, something which stood out to me was a student had taken what they learned during our Tinkercad lesson, and during their own time, they created this Arduino with an LCD interface, which displayed Camp Ursa Minor once they ran the code. So first of all, that was really impressive. And it was really, awesome to see that they took their time to actually work on that and that we had made an impact on them. In addition, our theme day was also on the showcase day. So it was just really wonderful to see everyone with tropical Zoom backgrounds and dressed up in beach attire, while we, had a chance to look over what everyone was able to accomplish over the course of just 5 days. So overall, it was just a wonderful way to look over how much we were able to learn and accomplish over the course of just 1 week, and also just see how much both the counselors and the campers were able to grow from the beginning to end. I definitely saw some growth in some of the campers. But yeah, the showcase was definitely my favorite part of the camp.
Okay, that's really cool. Patricia, you touched on something I want to ask about, because you talked about you saw the growth in campers, but also the counselors. So for any of you, how did you feel that these camps impacted you? We spent so much time talking about the student impact, the camper impact, but what about the camp counselors?
For me, it was mainly those off-topic conversations that were off the script, off the slideshow. Someone's we're just talking about something and it goes off topic. We're learning so much from them alone, and it's just we are playing games and they mentioned something and everybody's talking about it now, and it's just so amazing to listen to that.
I love it, because that's a win-win. So often that we think about outreach as something we're doing for the community, but we don't realize that we're growing while we're doing it and we're learning. So that's really, really cool. We are running out of time here, Arctos. I feel like I could talk to you for forever on this stuff, because this has been so cool. But is there anything else that your team's been up to this fall, or anything exciting and awesome you want to tell us about?
So our team has been up to quite a few things during the fall. We just finished one of our smaller projects, a mini bot specifically. So that was meant to help the members who were online last year to take the skills they learned over Zoom and actually apply it hands-on. In addition, everyone involved with Camp Ursa Minor during the summer, we enjoyed it greatly. And since it was our first time doing such a huge student-led event and initiative, we decided we wanted to continue with something similar in the upcoming year. So we'll actually be continuing with something like a Camp Ursa Minor 2.0 in the upcoming year. And we're going to be focusing on general STEM. So whether it be mechanical, programming, electrical, design, and so much more. The format of it is sort of going to be like a course. So for grades 1 to 6 over the span of 8 weeks with weekly lessons and weekly meetings. And of course, different cohorts, for instance, grades 1 and 2, grades 3 and 4, and grades 5 and 6. So despite like only being in the planning phase for this event, we're still super excited and pumped because we know it's going to be a great event. And we're really excited to see what Camp Ursa Minor 2.0 brings us in 2022.
Oh, I can't wait to hear more about Camp Ursa Minor 2.0, and maybe, who knows, maybe like later on in the season we can do a plug for it on the show as there's more details and everything, because I think it'd be great for that. Hey, Arctos, I thank you so much for being here. Like I said, we could talk for forever on this stuff. Are you pumped for a season of in-person robots this year?
Oh, yes. Oh, most definitely.
That's great. I can't wait to get back at an event with all of you. Can't wait to see what kind of, man, your robot was so good the last time I saw y'all, and it's been so long, too long. Can't. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Srila, Vagish, Diksha, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everything you did for these camps and for these students. And I'm glad you got to see some growth, and glad we got to see some smiling faces. We will be back with our first Canada Senior Mentors in just a moment after a word from one of our sponsors, Schneider Electric. Thanks, folks.
The world is full of people telling you who to believe they are. Well, we thought we'd tell you who we're not. Let's start here. We're not in shipping. We don't make lifts. Seriously, no lifts. We do this. We're good at this. And we make all of these. And even though you'll find us here and here, we don't make energy. We make you save it. And you'll be saving the environment too. Are we an internet company? Well, we connect and power just about everything around you, helping machines talk to each other and to you, making your world more personal. We're seeking out the big questions and answering them honestly. Like, how can we make the most of our energy and resources? Or can we make access to energy and digital basic human rights? We're real people, employees, developers, partners, investors, and inventors, all passionate about doing what's right. We're open, humans of all sorts from all over, learning from each other and about each other. We're not here to save the world. It'll go on with or without us. We're here to help power and connect what you do every day, to ensure life is on everywhere, for everyone, at every moment.
All right, we're back, and we've had some great teams on here, but we're going to bring on some great senior mentors. That's right, the first Canada Senior Mentors. We got some representation. First off, we have Heather Kelso. Heather was first introduced to FIRST back in 2012. Each of her 4 children have been involved in FIRST through First Lego League, all the way to FRC. Her husband, Brian, is an FRC mentor and most recently an FTC mentor for 2 FTC teams. Wow, this is a lot that the Kelsos are doing. Heather's greatest goal is to give every student in Northern Ontario the opportunity to be involved in FIRST, and we're going to talk about how she's done some of that today. She has proudly been a FIRST senior mentor for 6 years, and in that time has helped form over 65 FIRST LEGO League Challenge teams and 16 FIRST LEGO League Explore teams in Northern Ontario. And fun fact, everyone, we have royalty in the house. Royalty, because Heather was once the queen of the furrow at the international plowing matches here in Ontario. She's such royalty, she doesn't even remember which prime minister presented her with her honor. So I bow down to my queen, Heather Kelso.
Remind me to never share any past information with you, Karthik.
Well, you know, really your mistake was sharing it with Swaggy P, Paul Keenan, and because then I will, now that I have it, it's, this is how we're gonna be introducing you at every event going forward, you know, until we come up with something new or someone else to tease. Next up, Not royalty, but still pretty cool, is Phil Homerski. His love affair with First began in 2009 when his son Nathan joined a fledgling First Lego League team that grew into the colorful FRC 4039 Makeshift Robotics, who we just saw earlier with their FTC team. Phil has shared his expertise in communications and community relations as a community relations professional through several First activities and initiatives, from the STEM League Cup, which is also where the district event's going to be happening at St. Mary's, and the district lead volunteer coordinator, and most recently through his involvement with the First Canada Strategic Plan and COVID-19 Task Force. Welcome, Phil. Phil, we cannot hear you, but that's okay. You're an expert in communication, so I know you'll figure that out. While Phil is working on his microphone, let's bring out the illustrious Sarah Sills. From engineer to mom to teacher to first senior mentor, Sarah has had a few careers. Each has included a connection to STEM learning. She was a former mentor for SWAT 771, who was on earlier, and a Woody Flowers Finalist Award winner in 2013. As a first senior mentor, she supports all FIRST programs across the Greater Toronto West for FIRST Robotics Canada. She's usually backstage because, for those of you who don't know, Sarah is the one that makes FIRST Canada Live run. She's the producer that makes this show happen. But today she's on the show bringing light to all the great things she's been doing. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, good to be here.
Thank you for being here. Hey, Phil, how's your sound?
Is that better?
Much better. There we go. We are all good. So I want to start off because, you know, all of you have been involved with FIRST for so long and you fulfill this role of first senior mentor, but I don't think that everyone in the community exactly knows what a first senior mentor is. So what is a first senior mentor?
Well, I think Phil's going to tell us.
Always the producer, Sarah.
Excellent, Sarah. Thank you so much. Well, we are basically appointed by FIRST headquarters to serve all of Ontario and through across all the programs. So I think you'll hear from our presentations that we support everything from First Lego League Discover right up through the First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition as well. And just supporting the teams, supporting the programs, supporting First Canada, and really trying to get the FIRST programs out there into the community, and so that we can all appreciate the fun and excitement of the inspiration that we see in the students out there.
So to a certain degree, you all are kind of like the mentors for all the teams as a resource and being able to help out that way. That is fantastic. So I'm sure some of our teams didn't realize that you're out there and available. And like, let me tell you, these folks, the First Canada senior mentors, are Dave Ellis in chat just kind of said we have the best first senior mentors in the world, and we absolutely do, because the amount of work that you all put in for any team who needs help, who's like, hey, I can't figure this out. And, our senior mentors, if they don't know the answer, they go find the answer because they know so many experts out there who can help out. And it's really, really cool to see in action. But in addition to just helping teams generally, you all have various initiatives that you're working on. And Heather, this summer, I hear you did some cool stuff up in Moosonee, which is way up north, like even further, much further north than you are.
Way farther north than I am. Yeah. One of the cool parts about being a first senior mentor is being able to participate in some cool opportunities like last summer's Indigenous summer camps. So we were able to virtually connect with students from Moose Cree First Nation, which is up in Moosonee, and Nipissing First Nation, which is near me in North Bay. So yeah, had a great time. I have some, oh, there we go. There's my start. So my next slide actually shows a nice map that's going to show you where Moosonee is. So if you can see down where Toronto is, and then that red marker is all the way up where Moosonee is. So you can't even drive straight to Moosonee. You can drive as far as Cochrane, and then you have to take the train, unless it's winter, and then you can take the ice roads up. So it's really cool. It's a community of about 4,000 people and 70 75 to 80% of the peoples living in Moosonee or Moose Factory identify as Indigenous people. So we worked with the John R. Delaney Youth Center and Moose Factory to distribute our Spike Prime kits and help promote the camp to people in the community. So I thought I would show you what we actually did in our camp to introduce it. Just show what we did in our camp. So on our very first day, we built the Spike Prime Rhinobot. And that's basically the Rhinobot. And the best part of starting any team or participating anything with Lego is watching the kids build, because that's the best thing to them. So then once we had that built, we went into kind of some coding and wanted to teach them basic how to drive forward. And we used the touch sensor to stop, and then we backed up and went on. So once they were pros at that, we moved on to a basic driving bot, drive-based bot, and we taught them coding that would just teach them how to drive their robot in a square. So then they mastered that. Then after that, we put an attachment on the front of our robot, because in most competitions, we're using attachments onto our drive base, right? So from there, we taught them how to, again, drive forward, use some sensors, and use their attachment motor arm to pick up an object and pull itself backwards to it. So that was kind of the week. We only had 4 days with our students because it takes a long time to ship things to Moosonee. So it takes an average of 5 to 7 days. So I'm used to throwing something in FedEx or Purolator and it's there the next day, but not up to Moosonee or Moose Factory. So I sent their kits up thinking, oh, they'll have that by Tuesday, and forgot. So we had to condense the camp down from 5 days to 4 days, but it was wonderful. So we had some parents write in some lovely comments on how much their kids enjoyed it, and just the opportunity to have a STEM activity, because they're quite isolated. Opportunities like this don't come up very often, and yeah, and then my next slide shows a couple pictures of the kids once they had their robots built, and you can, I think, see the drive. I think that's our drive base with its attachment on it. And I think that's really about it. Each day we gave the kids homework to continue on and do a little bit more at night, and every single one would. And what I loved the most about this camp is their parents sat with them and learned with the students. And so I've never experienced that at a camp before, where the parents learned with them. And so that was an even better experience for me to have adults and kids in with it all together. So there's my overview of our trip to Moosonee, and that's it.
And I think, Heather, we have a video to show.
Oh, will it show?
I think so. If you would like, see,
let's do it.
When the Queen commands, it happens. Oh no, we lost the video. Oh no.
Oh, did we lose it?
Oh no, someone's gonna be beheaded.
Maybe this is the best video ever. So this is the kids, and they're saying, you maybe can't hear you. They're saying, like, it's not gonna move, it's not gonna move. And then they're squealing right now.
Oh.
And then wait till you see their faces.
Oh,
it was the best.
That is absolutely fantastic, Heather. Thanks for giving these students this like fantastic opportunity. Why was this specific initiative so important to you?
So again, kind of my mandate of the North. I'm always sensitive to try to give Northern students the same opportunities that every student has, so that kind of following our mandate of diversity and inclusivity and everything like that. So it was that reason, and then just again to grow first. And where let's go north. We got to go to the Yukon a few years ago, and so then we thought, well, let's go Northern Ontario this time.
Right. And, if you can make it work on the way on the coast of James Bay, we can make it work anywhere. Right, Heather?
I think so.
Yeah. There's no limits. There's no limits in all of this.
No.
And so speaking of cool initiatives, Sarah, I heard you were up to something with the organization Child Life.
Yeah. So we know that First Canada is always trying to inspire young people to think about their further studies and careers in science, technology, and engineering. But the limitations, and we've been talking about that all tonight, like the limitations either by a remote area that Heather was talking about, or some of the things Srila and the other teams were talking about. So we decided to focus on kids that have health issues. So you might not think about it, but kids that are fighting with health issues often can't attend school regularly, and they're just struggling with schoolwork or trying to keep up. They can't be on clubs and teams because they miss a lot. So in the past, First Canada has worked with some other organizations like Holland Bloorview, Erin Oaks Kids, and Ron Joyce Children's Health Center. So I was looking for another opportunity to reach out to kids who have health issues. So I contacted Child Life, who supports kids at McMaster Hospital. And we started by donating some Spike Prime Lego kits to them, and then prepared some hour-long sessions similar to what Heather was doing at her camps. And then Child Life helped us out by getting the kids enrolled. And on the day of the camp, they would deliver the Spike Prime kit and an iPad for coding and a laptop for watching us on Zoom right to their hospital room. So then I would log on along with, I had some First alumni supporting me, to a Zoom call to these kids that were in their hospital beds. And we would introduce them to what First was, and hoping to make some STEM learning fun. And we would actually have them build a Lego robot and program it using that iPad. And I'd like to show you a photo of one of the kids. So here's one of the girls. Look, she's trying to build this through, like, on her bed. Now, I know maybe some of you have built robots on your bed, but it's a little complicated, And there she is. She's got her robot built. She's got her iPad where she's coding. She's got the Zoom call up to assist her. And gosh, just the excitement again when they get the robot working is super cool. So you can stop showing that photo.
Sarah, I have to say about that photo, I think one thing that gets me is I think a lot of us can relate to, anyone who's been in a hospital before, how frustrating it is. And as someone who spent a lot of time there in my youth, when you have that lap board that swings around, I always I see it and I think it's just like, oh, negative experiences. This is where I have to eat those stupid tangerines in a cup and all that sort of thing. But to see something so positive on there, like a robot and whatever, it's like just amazing. Every time I see that, and like this photo's not new to me, but every time I see it, I get like this. It's just such a, I just know how meaningful it is, because it's hard enough when you're an adult in a hospital, but as a kid, and yeah, just so cool, Sarah. I didn't really have anything more to say other than it's cool.
Yeah, I totally agree, Karthik, because you think about like what their day is like, and what they're going through, and the fact that you can kind of bring this moment of brightness into their day, it just really is a moving thing, I guess. So far we've worked with 17 kids, usually 2 or 3 at a time. And there was another example of a kid who had built the Lego robot. And just when we get started, they can program just pixels of the lights that light up on the Spike Prime robot. And so all of a sudden he figured out like, oh my gosh, I can control which lights turn on the robot. So he like bursts out in the middle. He just kind of blurts out, I'm so smart, I can do art. So those are the moments that you're just like, yes, there was a bright spot in his day. Like, this is so good. Yeah, so it's been really a feel-good program, and we're hoping to continue it. And it'd be great if we could get to in-person sessions. That'd be really awesome.
That'd be fantastic. I know that'd be a game changer for these kids. Because you sometimes you don't get to see many people when you're in the hospital. You see the same doctors and nurses and support staff, and just it'd be fabulous. That's great. Phil, you've been up to some really cool stuff, and I can't wait for you to share this initiative, because this is another one just as impactful as Heather and Sarah.
I'm so excited about this, Karthik, and I always believe in giving credit where credit is due, and really the seed of this this particular initiative started out with one of our fellow FSMs, and that's Paul Keenan. Swaggy P, I think, is who you know him by, Karthik, and the rest of the FRC crowd out here. But he backs onto a high school at his home, and at the height of the pandemic, when it was only the students with special needs that were allowed to come to the school, that he realized that there were a number of students that would regularly be out in the playground and doing the same kinds of things all the time, that they were out there to get a little bit of exercise and some fresh air, and I guess a break from what they were doing in the classroom. And he thought, well, I bet you we have some tools from some of our particularly the first Lego League programs that might be useful to them. So he was talking to me about this initiative, and I thought, well, maybe we can bring that to my area in Hamilton. And full disclosure, I'm a trustee with the Hamilton Wentworth Catholic District School Board, and I do sit on a committee called SEAC, the Special Education Advisory Committee. So I already knew how wonderful the staff are at that board that help our students with special needs day in and day out. And so I approached the superintendent of the Catholic board, the superintendent who oversees the special education programs, and she referred the idea to one of her staff, and that person is a board certified behavior analyst called Leilani Licuna, and she really took this idea to a whole nother level and really ran with the concept. I know she did a lot of research about FIRST. She knew nothing about FIRST, and really looked into all our programs and tried to figure out how some of the programs that we have would certainly help some of the students that they were serving. And so she came up with a pilot program, and it was to provide learning opportunity to students that had special education needs and who had an interest in either Lego or robots. And so it is designed to help the students with these special needs that have significant behavioral issues, and that might interfere with them working with others in a group setting. So the pilot program actually ran in June of last year, and during the school year, it was an hour a day for 2 weeks, and then they had a summer program in August that went for 1 week in 2 hours daily. And because they were pilot programs, they ran initially with a small number of students. And with the initial program, the students met virtually via Microsoft Teams, and the summer program ran with 3 or 4 students at each of the schools, and there were 2 schools that were participating. And all the students were provided with materials from the First Lego League Explore program, including Lego pieces, the FLL Explore kit, and the students shared a WeDo kit as well. And what I thought was an amazing customization of the program was the engineering notebook was developed into a keynote presentation, and the programming was put on the student's iPad. So this was, I think it was an amazing customization, because these students were very accustomed to using their iPads and used it for all of their learning. And so it really allowed them to get involved in the programming of the initiative as well. And so each of the build challenges was paired with options in the keynote presentation for students, and they could electronically document their work, like drawing on the iPad and inserting a picture and a video or an audio. So I think that made it a very nice transition for them to get into something new and something familiar for them as well. And the data collection really compared these students' baseline behaviors to the post-program behaviors. And I tell you, when I was looking at the videos, we had an example of a student with showing a fairly destructive behavior and disruptive behavior as well before they went into the program, and then seeing how they reported and worked with the other student in the other school virtually. It was just amazing to see that kind of change in behavior that those students showed. And I really see this as an initiative that has incredible potential in it, not only to share a customized First Lego League Explore program with other boards or students with behavioral issues, but also for students with other special education needs to help them with their learning and development. So I think it's really opening up a whole new area that we can explore and really help these students that have special education needs to be able to not only control their behaviors, but also to be able to learn and really develop themselves as well. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity for me that really delivered itself and really became a collaborative effort out of a seed of an idea that just came out of the blue and really took on a life of its own.
Is fantastic. As we take a look at some of these images.
Yes, some of the photos that you're seeing here are from the pilot program, and showing how the students are playing with the Legos, but and programming here as well, using the blocks programming. And I do wish I could have shown you the video, because the students really took to a liking to working with the robots, and it really did change their behavior. Excuse me. So talk about it.
Yeah, and I think it's just one takeaway from all that you've shared with us about these various initiatives, is that first really is for anyone, and it's about getting access to everyone. Because we all know the impact of this program and the difference it makes on the lives of young people. But and it'll make a difference in anyone's lives, but there's so many who don't have the opportunity. And I'm honored to work with the First Canada Senior Mentors who go out of their way to provide these opportunities for so many folks. And the lives impacted, and this is just a small cross section that we've seen here today, but it's just so impressive, and just doing different things. And I think there's some people who have this idea of first is like, oh, it's this like exclusive program for like the nerds who are already going into engineering. And that's one slice of it. Those nerds are important, like we're not trying to say they're not, but there's a slice of first for everyone. And it's on all of us as a community to try and get those slices out there. And our senior mentors do such a great job with this. Hey, we are running out of time, but I want to hear from each of you about one thing you are super excited about this upcoming season. I'm going to start.
I'll go first. The
all right,
potential of in-person competitions.
It sounds pretty exciting, right?
That's like, I hope.
Yes. Sarah?
I have to say I'm unreasonably excited when I see teams posting about meeting. Come up on my social media like, our team's meeting today, and I'm like, they're meeting. So I don't know, I'm just like very happy that people are able to get together, not virtually.
Yeah, and Phil?
Yeah, like Sarah, I'm excited about hearing about the teams that are getting together, and so that we as first senior mentors can be out there and meet those students and cheer them on as they develop their robots and get ready for. Let's hope it's going to be an in-person season that we can all really engage in.
That is the plan. That is the plan, folks. And thank you so much to our first senior mentors. Hey, folks, if you want to ever contact a first senior mentor, your team needs help, needs anything like that, go to our website, go to the About Us staff page, and all the contact info for each of them is there. There's some who have geographic interests, some who have specific program interests, but you write to one of them, and if they don't have the answer, they'll go into I'm sure they have like a super secret senior mentor chat where they're like, oh, there's a team here, let's send out a bat signal. And then boom, they just show up, unleash the queen, let's go. It's a good thing. Like, Heather, think about all the other nicknames that you could have possibly had. And if Queen of the Furrow is what you get, I think that's a pretty big win. That's a pretty big win right there. Hey, thank you to all our First Canada senior mentors. Thank you to all the teams who are on the show. SWATposium, sign up for it. It's going to be great. All sorts of good stuff. We are going to be back here in 2 weeks for another episode of First Canada Live. We're going to have story time with first alum and volunteer Rebecca Rayner. That'll be a very good time. And our youth council is going to be back. Hey, we're going to be talking a little bit about inclusion, which I think is a really important topic and ties into everything we do. So it's going to be a good time. So we will be back for that 2 weeks from now. In the meantime, stay safe, get vaccinated if able, and have fun out there, folks. We'll see everyone soon. Enjoy Taylor Red's new version of Red, dropped today on Spotify. See you, everyone. Bye.